Uh, the title of this webinar is Connecting Microsoft Business Applications with SAP Data. My name is Christoph Schuler with Theobald Software, and over the next 30 minutes or so, I will walk you through a brief overview of who Theobald Software is, a brief overview of our company, as well as our solutions for connecting your SAP data and environment to the Microsoft platform. So with that, let's get started. So a little bit about our company, Theobald Software. We've been around for about 15 years, and we, in these 15 years, have focused on SAP connectivity. To this day, that is still the focus of our work. We're an ISV, or a software vendor, so we're not a consulting firm trying to sell you SAP services. We develop and market SAP connectivity solutions that ideally you can, in your environment, use with little configuration and learning effort. We've grown in these 15 years to about 2,500 SAP customers. I will talk a little bit more about that on the next screen. And we also have a partner network, partners that are both technology partners, but also resellers that help us bring our solutions to our customers. Today, we're represented in 4 geographies. Our company is headquartered in Stuttgart, Germany, and we have sales offices in Seattle, which is where I'm located to support our customers primarily in the US. And we also have sales offices in France and in Hong Kong to support those regions. You see here in the blue shaded areas where we have customers today. As a company, as a software company focusing on SAP solutions, we've sort of grown with the SAP market outside of Germany and into Europe over the years, with more and more business also in North and South America, as well as in Asia Pacific. Here's a reference a list from some of our customers. One of the things I'd like to point out here is that we don't focus on a certain industry. We have customers in virtually all segments. Also, SAP customers, large and small. And we help customers connect to any of their SAP systems that run on the traditional SAP platform, which is also known as the NetWeaver or ABAP platform or ABAP stack. Having said that, we don't really focus on some of the more recent acquisitions by SAP. So if you think of systems like SAP Concur or SAP SuccessFactors, those are systems we don't focus on, rather the core SAP environments such as SAP ERP or SAP BW. I mentioned earlier we have a number of partners, and for this webinar, I'd just like to highlight 2 key partnerships that are very important to us. For one, we're a Microsoft Gold partner, and we have been for many years. Over the years, we've also been awarded with innovation awards from Microsoft. And our list of SAP solutions for the Microsoft platform has also grown over the years. I will go into these into more detail as part of this webinar, but here's a list where you can see with any of the Microsoft environments that you may use at your company, whether it's SQL Server or Azure or Power BI or maybe Power Apps, and we will see how you can connect those to the Microsoft platform. We are also an SAP partner, another very important partnership for us. We're a certified SAP partner and have been for many years. That allows us to also get our hands on the very latest releases of SAP, which now includes SAP for HANA. But we also go back quite a ways. So if you're still on an earlier release of SAP, we make sure that our products are still compatible with those releases of SAP and will be compatible in the future. So before I go into the next slide, I'd like to do a brief poll. If you wouldn't mind using the voting buttons that will come up on the screen, and tell me a little bit about where your SAP data lives. I've prepared 4 options for you. So if you could do me a favor and help me understand where most of your SAP data lives. Okay, I'll give this a few more seconds. Great. Great, thank you so much. So it looks like the majority of you is already looking towards HANA-based environments. That's also very consistent with what we see from our customer bases in general. So let me close this vote so you can see the results. Okay, and one more question I'd like to ask you is, so based on what you will see today, where would you need your SAP data the most? What is of most importance to you? So I've prepared some answers for you here with some Microsoft products. Okay, I'll give this a second too. Great, thank you very much. So there's a good portion of Power BI and Power Apps, which is expected as a follow-up to the Microsoft Business Application Summit in Atlanta just recently. So thank you for this. I appreciate that. Let me jump back into the PowerPoint slides and introduce our first scenario to you. Here we go. Okay, so we're going to talk about the first scenario, which is for the business analyst, which I assume is many of you have a business analyst role or work with business analysts at your company. And what we've recently introduced and developed is a specific connector that works with Power BI, specifically with Power BI Desktop for SAP. And so let me explain briefly on this overview slide what this connector does and how it works, and then I'll show you a live demo of the connector. So most of you have said you have SAP data in a HANA-based environment. So if you're looking to pull SAP data from S4HANA or BW4HANA or maybe a HANA database, we have a connector for you. And we provide these connectors in a product which is called Extract Universal. It has that name because you can think of it as a universal, as a general purpose extractor tool for SAP data, which works with many different target environments, Power BI being one of them, and Power BI being a first citizen as a data target for this SAP data. What you see here is we have a range of connectors that we provide for the purpose of getting to your SAP data. As you may know, SAP data doesn't live in just one shape or form inside of SAP or in one area. SAP can live in different places, and it's shaped and formed very differently depending on the module or type of functionality you use. So we have over the years developed a series of connectors that help you get to the data in SAP wherever it may live, so that you don't need to talk to your SAP developer or your SAP system admin to help you get to the data that you need. So I'll briefly go through these. just to give you the rundown of what we support today. So you can connect to any table or multiple tables. We call it a table join in SAP. Most data is stored in SAP tables, and so this gives you broad access across your SAP landscape. And this is regardless of whether we're talking SAP ECC or whether we're talking S/4HANA or whether your SAP system runs on a HANA database or still on an Oracle database. We do this at the application level. So any table we can access data from and bring that out into the Microsoft environment. The next one is an important object, the data source or ODP. ODP stands for Operational Data Provisioning. It's an SAP term because it refers to something SAP has invented and has developed for the purpose of extracting data from an SAP ERP system. These data extractors are also known as the BW extractors because SAP has developed them for the purpose of their customers pulling data into a BW system. We can also hook into these data sources and sort of act like a BW system. And one of the advantages of this type of data source is that it provides you with delta feeds, meaning you only get the new and the changed data from SAP. So very important for large data sets. We can connect to function modules or what are known as BOPs in SAP. Also, some of you or some of your colleagues may use ABAP reports that they pull up on the screen, on the SAP screen. We can also take that data outside and bring it into Power BI. Query is SAP's built-in query based on info sets or transaction SQ01. And then the last three that you see on the right here, OpenHub, Bex Query Cube, and Hierarchy are BW specific. So those three objects work very well with your BW environment. Maybe you have existing Bex queries, or maybe there's some hierarchy information that you need to use as part of your reporting needs in Power BI. So in summary, you have a broad palette of data extractors that allow you to connect into your SAP system to bring the data outside. So what do we do once we have the data extracted? You can use our Power BI connector to go directly into a Power BI desktop report. And with that capability, you also have the ability to continuously refresh this data. So it doesn't get stale. We fully support the ad hoc or manual refresh capability in Power BI Desktop, but you can also schedule a refresh once you, let's say, published your report to the Power BI Desktop service, and you use the data gateway to schedule an automatic refresh of your data all the way down to your SAP system. So let me show you the demo for this. I will switch screens. Here we go. So what you see on the screen is Power BI Desktop. And there's a report that I prepared which shows SAP accounts receivable information. You see here on the right in my fields list, I'm getting 3 feeds from my SAP system. Now these 3 feeds happen to come all from an SAP ERP system. This could be an SAP ECC, or it could be an SAP S/4HANA system. And I'm using different data sources here. I'm using a table pull from a table called SAP BSID. That's a table in the finance area of SAP. And this table contains open items, open accounts receivable items. I'm also pulling industries separately, and then KNA1 is a customer table. And with these 3 table pulls, I can construct a report like you see the one here on my screen. So I'm showing here accounts receivable amounts by customer. Then I have a visual down here for the raw data. So I can, for instance, sort by industry name or by bucket. If I want to see what's overdue 60 to 90 days, I can get a quick view into what customers are my worst offenders when it comes to not paying their invoices. I also have a country-specific view, and I can filter, for instance, to also cross-filter the other areas to see what are my customers in Germany, for instance, that are past due, and so forth. And once I click on refresh, the connector, our SAP connector, will go out to the SAP system, pull the latest data from these tables, and then update them in the Power BI connector. And so I'll give this a minute to let it finish. And as I mentioned earlier, you also have the ability to publish this report. Just as you would with any other report in Power BI, you publish it to the service. You can then construct your dashboards, share it with other users, and schedule a refresh, even if your SAP data lives on-premise in your on-premise SAP system. We can still get to it using the data gateway from Microsoft. So that was the Power BI connector. Now let me switch back to the slides. Here we go. Okay, so we just saw how you can use these various connectors into your SAP system to populate a Power BI report with SAP data. Now, with Extract Universal, again, this being a universally applicable tool or a general purpose tool, your IT team could also use the tool to populate a data warehouse environment, right? So the bottom half of this slide looks exactly the same as before, where we put data into Power BI Desktop. With the tool, you can also populate your data warehouse environments, whether that's in Azure, Azure SQL, Azure SQL Data Warehouse, or Azure Blob Storage, or an on-premise SQL Server database. So you have one tool that serves multiple purposes, and with just a few configuration changes or clicks, you can redirect your SAP data stream into different areas or multiple areas. So that makes it a very universal and general purpose tool for SAP data extraction. Okay, so with that, I will continue and show you one more scenario. And because there was primarily interest for the Power BI and Power Apps integration, I will go over this a little faster because this also relates to the data warehouse automation, which is more for your IT department. We have a variation of the tool that you saw earlier, which is called Extract IS. So for customers that use Microsoft's integration services, or what is also known as SSIS, you can use the same extractors inside of Microsoft SSIS to then again populate your Azure and your on-premise SQL Server data warehouse environments. Think of it as a variation of what we saw, Extract Universal being a standalone tool without any dependencies. It runs on standard Windows hardware. Extract IS, on the other hand, requires Microsoft SSIS. So it only works within the Microsoft SSIS environments. So for customers that already use SSIS for data movement within their company, this is a great choice. For others, the standalone tool makes more sense. Plus, you also get the specialized connectors, for example, the Power BI connector that we saw in the demo. Okay, so with that, I will move into the fourth scenario. It says number 3, that should be number 4, and that is cloud process integration for SAP. So what do we talk about here? We're talking about, again, your SAP transactional environments where records, transactional records, master data exist and needs to be continuously updated and created. So for scenarios where you also need to write back into SAP, where you maybe need to update a master record, let's say a customer master or a material master, or maybe you want to post a purchase requisition or an employee time request, where you need to capture something, you need read-write abilities, right? What we've seen so far in this webinar with our extract tools, we're talking read-only for the purpose of analytics and reporting. Here, we're talking read-write capabilities. This is a user or a process interacting with SAP, maybe through a UI, maybe through something like Microsoft Flow, through a workflow that works behind a list or behind a form. And so let me show you an example of that. I need to switch screens for a moment. Just give me 1 second. Okay. Here we go. Okay, the screen should come up here momentarily. So what you see here is a Power App form. It happens to be hosted within SharePoint, but this could also be something you would display independently of SharePoint on your desktop, perhaps in your mobile app. And this list is directly connected through our connectivity product to a Microsoft ERP system. And what we're doing here is we're pulling material items. You see here the list. We pull the description, the material number, and I think this is the material type. I can search for materials, so the list gets filtered. I can also choose a material, let's say this ventilation material here, and I can then look at the details. Here we're bringing back 5 attributes of the material, and I can change it. So what if I want to change this? Let's say ventilation complete build, for instance. And then once I click on the submit button here on my form, on my Power Apps form, this form will go out, call through a web service into our connectivity tool, and then from there into SAP to update this master record. So slightly different to what we saw earlier. We have perhaps more an occasional need for the user to interact with SAP, as it's in this example, to update a material or to do a material lookup. But the big difference is you have read-write capabilities. And the feed is live, right? So you can see here now the list shows the new name. Once it was pulled from SAP, it's already been updated. So with that, we've seen now 4 scenarios for how you can integrate your SAP environment with the Microsoft platform. We've seen 3 scenarios from the analytics world or reporting world, and 1 for what we call process integration, involving a write back into SAP. All of these tools are available to customers, to you. I'll talk on the next one of the next slides about our trial. But first, let me summarize why customers are choosing to work with us. I mentioned earlier we've been around for 15 years, and we've grown to about 2,500 customers that use our tools for the highest demands of their SAP integration. This is typically all mission critical, and they use our tools daily to integrate their critical business environments with SAP. We're a certified SAP solution provider, and we have been certified for many years. Our solutions are not very extensive platforms. They're typically easy to install. They're not meant to replace anything that you have. Rather, they're designed and intended to ideally work with what you have, whether that's your existing ETL tool or an analytics platform or environment, such as Power BI. As well as your SharePoint or Power Apps environment. So our aim, our design goal, is to make our connectivity products work seamlessly with those environments and provide you the SAP connectivity that may be missing today. And because our tools are priced competitively, we can offer them at a lower TCO. That means the cost of acquiring, but also maintaining them or even learning them. There's a very short learning curve. All translates to a low TCO for you. And our customers typically see results within days and not months. If you go to our website, you will find a number of success stories there of some of the SAP customers that have used our products. I would encourage you to take a look at those. We have them for each one of our products and across the geographies. So you find European companies, global companies, US companies in there. So with that, I would like to thank you for your time today. I will stay around to take some questions. You can type them in the application. There's a questions area. And I would encourage you to either contact us directly. The contact information is on our website. Or if you're interested, try our software. You get the full functionality for 30 days without any obligation to purchase or even talk to us. So take your time and try it out. And let us know if we can further assist you with your SAP integration needs. Thank you very much, and bye for now.